Which bookies are the best in Australia? We have surveyed 500 active sports and racing bettors and assessed all these different bookies based on first deposit offers, promo availability, promo sustainability, pricing, user experience, and customer support. I couldn't make this video of my opinion alone, so I asked Jonas, who I chatted with on a previous video, link over here, to survey his 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗿𝗲 members and help me find the unbiased opinion of which bookies are the best in Australia. Jonas is a former trader at Bet365 and is currently a professional derivatives trader. He also runs 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗿𝗏, which is a tried and tested Australian tipping service. And they also help members approach betting like a professional trader. So Jonas, good to chat with you again. So you recently surveyed over 500 of your members to find out which bookie is the best in Australia. But before we get into the actual results, what's the kind of actual process that you guys went through in finding out?
Yeah, good to be back here, Shane. We basically surveyed over 500 of our members and on basically what the bookies, how the bookies are operating on some key metrics, and ultimately to find out who the best ones are. Yeah, the stats are that Australians punt about $20 billion or over $20 billion a year. About a third of adults are active punters. Only about 0.5% are long-term winners. And I believe in the last 12 months, the betting volumes in Australia have grown by 6%, which is strong growth. So all that's actually driving this influx of new bookmakers. So we're actually quite blessed to be able to choose from so many of them because there are so many donating. So hopefully this survey helps you find the ones that suit you best. So basically combine that survey with a lot of the intel that we get from our members when they're sending us screenshots of what bookies might be saying to them, of hung bets, etc. So we get a lot of insights into what the bookies are actually like under the covers. So combine those two to sort of create the results of the survey. Straight up front, I think it's worth noting that we've got no affiliations with the bookies. In fact, we don't want to be affiliates, even though they get in touch with us all the time, because we don't want our members to get linked up, and so there are a lot of traps out there. And interestingly, if you actually search who are the best bookies in Australia, the whole front page of Google comes up with a bunch of examples of affiliates who actually refer members to new customers to bookies and often keep a cut of the losses into perpetuity, which is very interesting. So there are lots of traps out there. So we've got no affiliations. We're actually helping our members make money.
Okay, thanks for the context, Jonas. Now let's get into how you actually rated the bookies and what the results actually were.
Yeah, so we rated the bookies on 6 key metrics. The first one is first deposit bonus offers. As I said, the market's never been so competitive in Australia. So there are about 30 to 40 really active bookmakers at the moment, and many of them offer these first deposit bonus offers, which is just free money to get the ball rolling. Usually in the realm of about $100 or $200. Interestingly, about 5 years ago, the legislation changed in Australia whereby you can no longer, as a bookmaker, promote the first deposit bonus offers to non-customers, but they're well and truly available to customers. So if they onboard you, you often get hit up by these. The second key metric that we used was promo availability, so promotion availability. I think if you've been watching TV or been out at the races, you would have seen all the same game multi promotions, the racing promos, second and third bonuses back, etc. So that was another one because there's a lot of edge in there. The third metric is a more subtle one, but a very important one. It's promo account sustainability. What I mean by that is some bookies out there, they'll lure you in with the most amazing sounding promotion to get you to sign up. You have 2 bets on a promotion and they send you an email saying you're promo banned and you're basically in the garbage bin. And so we need to factor that in as well, because if there's no longevity, it's kind of useless. The fourth metric is pricing. So simply put, some bookies have a lot more margin in them than others. And so if you add up all the reciprocals of all the runners in a race or in a game, -1, that's your margin. So that's one way to look at it. That's a well-known, commonly way to look at it. But the second part to it is more subtle. It's around what's actually a gettable price. They might be $10 in the app, but if you click on that and try and have a $50 bet on it, some of the bookies actually slip down to $9 and $8.50 and $8, and you're chasing these prices, so they're not actually achievable. The third thing is you might not be able to get the volume you want to get on. The betting limits are extraordinarily low with some of these bookies, so we factored that in. So we call it, achievable liquidity as well. The fifth metric is user experience. So it's pretty obvious, but couple of key things that we've looked at is, speed to execute. If you're there and you're trying to get a bet on and it's taking you 10, 15 seconds and the price is gone or the game or race has started, it's not a great user experience. Access to markets as well. So what's the breadth like? those sorts of user experience things. Then the last point there is around customer support, which is obvious. You know, if you've got a problem, how responsive are they, and how often do they actually fix the problems that you've got? So that's the core metric set that we've used to evaluate. All right, so now moving into the results. So we've ranked the 34 most active bookies in Australia according to the 6 criteria that we explained. So crunched the numbers here, and we've now ordered them from top to bottom. So number 5 goes to Pointsbet. So how did they stack up in terms of the metrics that we used? First deposit offer is pretty good. You can quite easily get a $100 or $200 first deposit offer out of them. Promotions, they're very good. They do daily racing promotions, which is very good. Second, third, and fourth back. In terms of sustainability, held them back a little bit. They do tend to be on the slightly quicker end of the spectrum to promo bans, so you just need to be a bit more careful with them. Pricing, user experience, customer support, all solid 4s out of 5 in terms of that. So I had Pointsbet at number 5. Then for number 4, we've actually awarded dual winners for that, and that is Neds and Ladbrokes. Interestingly, they're owned by the same parent company of Ladbrokes. They're basically clones of one another in terms of pricing and in terms of many things that they do. And so how did they rate as kind of a dual bookie, if you want to call them that? First deposit offers, nice. You can often get like $200-300 first deposit offer. Promotions, very good, 5 out of 5 there. Sustainability definitely held them back. That's the biggest drawback with Neds and Ladbrokes. You have to be more careful with them. If you launch into promos straight off the bat, they will send you an email, and you don't want to read that email, but it's a promo ban email. Pricing is pretty good, user experience solid, customer support also solid. So that's the Ladbrokes Neds combo. Then for number 3 goes to Bet365. So how did they rank Bet365 in terms of first deposit offers? Not great. You can usually get a $100 deposit offer, which is okay. Nothing special there. Promotions, they're pretty good, both racing and sport, but not standout, certainly not standout. In terms of sustainability though, they are very good. They're pretty slow to ban. It's obviously an enormous organisation, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it or whatever it might be, but they let you on for many months if you've got a balanced betting patterns. So they're very good there. Pricing, also one of their strongest points there. They'd be one of the best in the market in terms of pricing. If you bring up an odds checker in sport or like a dynamic odds in racing, you'll see that 365 almost always has the lowest margin. So they'll be $1.92 when the rest are $1.88 sort of thing. And you can get volume on as well. It's not just a fake price that sits there and you click on it and it goes away and shortens and shortens and shortens. You can actually get on as well. In terms of user experience, yeah, very good. For those sporting fans out there, if you want to stream sport, it's definitely the best experience globally. The apps may be a bit slow, they get some feedback on that, but overall the experience is very good. Customer support, yeah, they're very quick to respond and they're generous to sort of help you out when you've got an issue. Whether it's if you're waiting for a bonus back or something, they'll sort it out very quickly. Number 2 goes to the tab. First deposit offers, solid. You can usually get $200 out of them. Promotions, phenomenal. Up there with the best in the market. They've ramped their game up hard in the last 6-8 months to the point where they've got more promos than Sportsbet actually many weeks. So they've really upped their game. Phenomenal, which is nice to see. And they've also recently moved away from tote racing to fixed odds. Tote prices that you get are generally 5 to 10% shorter than fixed odds. So that's made a big difference. And there's an in-venue, they've got a lot of in-venue promotions as well, so you need to actually be in a venue. And those promotions are even better. There are actually ways to get around the in-venue thing, messages if you want to know. So that's, in terms of promos, very good. Promo sustainability as well, up there with the best. The tab's just happy to let you on for months and years. Not if you're just hitting promotions, but it's very easy to keep an account with the tab these days. Fingers crossed that stays the same. Pricing definitely holds the tab back in our ratings. Overall they ranked second, but pricing's pretty average. They've usually got about 4 or 5% more margin in their racing books than Sportsbet and 365. In the sport as well, you often cringe at some of the prices they come up with, but hey, the value's there in the promotion, so we're not going to complain. User experience, decent. They've recently upgraded their app. It's a bit quicker, it's a bit sharper, so it's good. Customer support as well is good there. Before I go into the number 1, I just thought I'd make a couple of quick mentions of some other bookies because we have 34 on our list here. I don't have time to go through everything, but Bet365, so Bet365 is a recently launched book. In fact, it launched just like 6 days ago as of today anyway, so just sort of mid-October 2022. And they're owned by news.com, and they're very well funded. Matt Tripp's behind it. They've just come out and their promotions are unbelievable. But you've got to ask the question, is this just a honeymoon period, the first few weeks? They get all the signups and then they start sending you emails. That remains to be seen, but so far the promotions are very good, so they'll be one to watch, I'd say. The other one, the other special mention is TopSport. There aren't many what are known as sharp bookies around. If you look through this list of 34 bookies, there are about 20 of them are just clones of one another. Many of them you actually use what's BetMakers technology, which is a white label platform that offers a lot of pricing and resulting for bookies. Helps you basically get a bookie up to speed pretty quickly, and that's great. That serves a purpose. But from a punter's perspective, we have concerns around sort of how the data sharing might work. The pricing with a lot of those bookies isn't great. But coming back to TopSport, they're an independent one. Their pricing is actually top notch as well, and you can get a lot down with them. So if pricing is really important to you, maybe you're here watching this video and you don't care about promotions, you just care about price. TopSport's up there with the best there. So I thought that was worth mentioning. And then for number one, it's not going to surprise everyone, but it goes to Sportsbet. So they've, over the last few years, they've definitely been a dominant player. They've got, I believe, 50% market share in Australia here, and it's for good reason. So the way we rank them number one overall. In terms of the split, first deposit offers, not amazing, 100 to 200 is available. Promotions, phenomenal. Those who've been using them for years will know that. In Perth, racing and sport, same game multis in sport, unbelievable. Racing, constant, great promos. In terms of sustainability, they're good to very good. Not quite as good as the tab, but they're up there. Pricing, decent to good. We've come through as a 4 out of 5 here, so not as sharp as a Bet365, but well and truly good enough to get plenty of value out of them. User experience is top notch, probably only second to Bet365, if depending on how you sort of value them. The speed's probably number one in the market. If you want to get a bet on, click and you're on. So if that's important to you, then they're up at the top of the rankings there. And customer support, very good as well. So Sportsbet's come out as number one. And here's a full table of results if you'd like to have a look in more detail.
So thanks for sharing those results. So how do your members actually factor in this sort of survey data on the best bookies?
Yeah, so I mean, 𝗘𝗱𝗲𝗏, we're a promotion service. We take advantage of these bookie promos, help members convert bonus bets into cash, etc. I guess you could distill an 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗏 member's sort of life cycle into a couple of key steps. Number one, have an awareness for all the bookies to open up accounts with. Take advantage of the first deposit offers. Obviously, these insights give some light into what's available out there. Step number two, having an awareness for how much you need to warm up certain accounts. If you just steam straight into hitting the promos too hard, you get promo banned too quickly. So that's obviously very useful for 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗏 members to be aware of. And then the third part is really, now that once you've got all these bookies set up, it's really just a bankroll management game so that they can sort of manage the downside if we go through tough patches of bad luck, so that the edge can come through. So what does that all end up in at the end of the day? The average 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗏 members averaged about $500 to $1,000 of profit a week. Next question you might ask is, well, how long can you do that for? Good question. Most members make about between $20,000 and $40,000 over about a 12-month period before they're promo banned everywhere. So if you're patient, you can go in excess of that. If you're impatient and don't follow the sustainability principles, then it can be lower than 20. But 20 to 40 is a very common bracket that people fall into.
So if you'd like to try out 𝗘𝗱𝗏𝗏, you can get 50% off your first month by using the code Shane50 when you sign up. And there's also no lock-ins, so you can cancel at any time, even during your first month. Thanks, Jonas, for sharing all this information on the bookies. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.